Welcome to the Eternity's Embrace podcast. We're going to be discussing mostly Destiny 2 topics, going over events in the game and events in the clan. We may at some point stretch this out to other topics, but for the time being it's going to be Destiny 2 related. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Raptor.
Hello there, I'm Raptor. I'm more of a PvE player in Destiny, as I find that to be what makes Destiny Destiny. I grind raids, dungeons, all sorts of hard level content, and I feel like that's the point of Destiny, is to play PvE. PvP is kind of a side quest.
Pretty understandable. I'm CVFD, one of the admins in the clan, as is Raptor. Call me CV. I also grind PvE content, normally, if there is PvE content to grind. And that's about it, So, let's get on to talking about our stance on the game. So we already went over how the podcast works and what it's going to be about. So, go ahead. How do you think the game is right now, Raptor, as a whole?
In the current state, looking at just this season, nothing in the future, the game's in a pretty rough state in terms of PvE. For this podcast, I don't think we'll really talk about any PvP content, since we're not really high enough level or high good enough for that quite yet. But in terms of PvE, it's been pretty lackluster. All we got in Season 10 was a really boring public event that was, you thought Escalation Protocol was grindy. Just wait till you get to this one. This was something else.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
The season consisted of 4 bunkers, a public event, a secret mission, which was broken, by the way, and not much else that I can remember off the top of my head. I feel like this was
nothing.
one of the... there was nothing really in this season. I don't know why they really put this one out there with so little in it. Maybe we'll get answers for that later. Who knows? But the way we see it, this is a very bad expansion. In my opinion, this is the worst expansion that has ever existed in Destiny.
I wouldn't even call it an expansion, really. It's just reskinned content. It's just
I would go with you on that.
Black Armory Forges with a couple paint jobs on a different planet. So.
Yeah, I would agree.
But it's all right. They're only charging $10, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Season of the Dawn, which I actually enjoyed that season. It might not have been the best season out there, but it offered a good storyline with Saint 14. I thought that was a fun storyline. And the Sundial event, while very simple, not as complex, it incentivized you to grind because the weapons were cool, but if you already had the God roll weapons, you could scrap them and just get a lot of materials.
Right.
I remember coming into this season with a ton of gunsmith materials, ton of legendary shards, and just enhancement cores and everything. I was loaded.
Right.
But then coming back into this season, trying to upgrade a bunker was
tedious. Bounty grinds.
Very tedious. Just bounty grinds like crazy.
Bounty grind the season.
Season of the bounty. So I feel a very noticeable difference coming from a season which had, I'd say, over $10 worth of content, to a season where I can't even justify $10 worth of content.
Probably not even. I wouldn't even say $5 worth of content. I mean, five new guns, technically. 2 of which are locked behind the season pass.
Six guns. The Fellwinter's Lie. One new exotic.
That's right, Fellwinter's. I wouldn't call that new. That's returning from Destiny 1.
I'd call it a return.
Just the same as all of the Trials weapons.
Yeah.
So, pretty lackluster, considering. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So
that's it for me. So
that's it for you. Okay. Well, my state of the game stands on the game. I love Destiny. Destiny 2 specifically. I hate the movement of Destiny 1, but I don't really think I played enough of it to enjoy it. But Destiny 2, I loved it. Still love it. I want it to be a good game. But I don't think Bungie wants it to be a good game. I don't think Bungie has any idea what they're doing. And if they do, then I want to know who's in charge, because I don't know if those people play Destiny. And if they do, I don't know what the fuck they're trying to do. So, all things considered, I think we've been on a pretty downward spiral past Forsaken. Forsaken was amazing. Black Armor was pretty good. Season of the Drifter was fucking trash fire. Shadowkeep, or not Shadowkeep, excuse me. Opulence is okay. I didn't like the raid, but all things considered, in the current state of the game, I appreciate that it at least had a raid. Fucking Shadowkeep, I don't know what that was. Delayed that a month and it was still awful. Story-wise, at least, and content-wise, I didn't enjoy most of it. Season of the Dawn, it was just Menagerie with a couple planetary bounties. Then we had this. I wouldn't even call this a season. I think we're just going down, But I guess that's all right. We can only go up from here. I hope, at least.
I mean, you're not wrong.
We'll see. Maybe that was their plan all along, was just to tank the game to the point where, they can only go up. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, I think the game has a lot to go. Or it has a lot of ground to cover. That's about it. So let's talk about. Perfect. That segues pretty well. Let's talk about where the game is heading. So where you think the game is heading, Raptor?
Well, looking at the future now, and what we've seen with the teasers going to Europa, the bunker wall, and the bunkers where you can see the pyramid ships coming, we're obviously going to fight the darkness, quote unquote, because we don't know what they're actually called yet. Leaks are suggesting the Veil, but leaks are 90% of the time wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go with the darkness for now. I feel like this is going to be good for the story, because this has been a looming threat since D1 came out 8-9 years ago. This is a big storyline. This story has to get. This would be a 10 out of 10 story. It's got to make Forsaken look like Season of the Word. It's got to make it look like that, because this is the darkness. This is the thing that we've been training for 8 years.
Right.
So this has to be a phenomenal story with phenomenal character growth. I have to feel invested in this, and if I don't feel invested, then the story of Destiny doesn't matter to anybody, which sucks, because I really enjoyed the story. I looked through the lore. The only things I really enjoyed about this season was the Fellwinter's Lie lore and the story based on that. That
Right.
was it. It's a cool story.
Yeah. That's
So
interesting.
I'm really expecting a grand slam story here, or else it's going to be another rough season.
Right. We can touch on that again in a later podcast, just so we can get a little more in depth.
Right now we got nothing. This is still technically all speculation. We don't know what we're doing, but
Right.
from assumptions based on what we have in game, a couple teasers we gotten, thinking fighting the darkness finally. So
I'm not sure if they're gonna play their trump card yet. Destiny really enjoys holding that. They've held it for freaking 8 years.
they've held it for 8 years, but if you look at the way the story's been going,
Right. Right.
after Forsaken they even teased pyramids. They
Yeah.
teased it and we're like, okay, it's probably just another tease, but then Shadowkeep, a pyramid shows up.
A pyramid shows up and nothing happens.
Nothing happens again. Still upset about that story beat. But the pyramid shows up, and now in Season of the 10, there's a wall of pyramids heading towards the planet. There's now a pyramid hiding behind Jupiter.
Yeah, I saw that. That little fucking hype nugget. Getting your rocks off, boys.
They're trying to, and It's working for me because I really I want to see the darkness. It's an 8-year story beat that I want to see pay off. I really do.
I want to see it too, but I don't understand how we're gonna get to Destiny 3 from that. Unless, of course, they're done with Destiny 3 and they're scrapping it and they're just going to put it into Destiny 2.
I think they scrapped Destiny 3. I think the reason they split from Activision is because this September, we were supposed to get Destiny 3. This upcoming September. But I think Bungie said, no, we just can't do it. It's not going to work. And I think Activision, because if I remember the quote, I don't have it in front of me, but the quote from Activision and Bungie was, they didn't like the way that the direction the game was headed. So both of them, they just split peacefully. Also, and Activision said Forsaken sales numbers were low, which baffles me still, because I don't get that one. But if the game wasn't going in the way they wanted it to go, Activision likes to churn out, 2-3 games, every, like clockwork, a Call of Duty, a new Call of Duty every year.
Right.
You can expect one on the dot every year.
Right.
So they're used to a certain type of game and how it's supposed to lay out, and Bungie just wasn't beating that. So I think they split peacefully, but Bungie said, okay, we're going to take everything we have for D3, which is the pyramids, Europa, and all this. We're going to make it an expansion in D2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which can also explain why there's been a lackluster in content for these seasons, because if they're porting D3 to D2, it's going to require a lot of manpower.
Right.
So not a lot of manpower has been making these seasons, or if they had the ideas for these seasons, then they put minimal people on, and they're like, okay, we're going to do a public event, 6 guns, with another gun and an exotic and 3 exotic pieces of armor. That's it.
That doesn't make a ton of sense to me why they would switch over to the seasonal model with such minimal content. If they were splitting from Activision simply because they didn't want to put out D3, I think they would have said something about that. They would have said, guys, we don't really have too much content right now, but we are moving towards Destiny 2 being the final game and finishing up the story in Destiny 2. So we're not going to have a bunch of content for you for right now, but we're working on something big. I don't understand why they would try to hide that from us.
And in hindsight, if I was the head of Bungie, that's exactly what I would have said. I don't know why they're hiding it. Maybe they thought it was a good idea. We got to keep this on the down low because when we reveal it, it's going to be big. And yeah, it could be big, like they said. But I feel like in this case, you're right. If they would have told us, look, we're going to give you 3 seasons because we want you guys to have content. They're going to be pretty minimal though.
Right.
Don't expect a lot right now. We do want you to play the game. We want you to enjoy the game, and we want you to come back in the fall and just, play the game immensely.
Right. I think they had to have been hiding it intentionally, which is why they made it free to play, because they knew they were going to be bleeding players when veterans saw whatever they call this content in quotes.
The state of the game. Yeah, it's not good.
Knew they were going to be bleeding players, so they switched over to the Fortnite model like everybody else.
It works. People buy it.
I guess. They're bleeding players. They're losing.
So far, it's worked. We don't know what's going to happen after the big expansion in the fall. We don't know what they're doing.
Me and a lot of the community have lost pretty much all faith in Bungie. I don't believe anything that they say.
It's rightfully so. I don't agree that... No, I don't not agree. Okay. I do agree, and I see why you've lost faith, because there's nothing really. I thought Dawn was pretty low on content, I thought, at first, but then I get here to Season of Worthy, and I'm like, wow. Dawn was like a yearly expansion in terms of this.
Give us back to something. At least, come on. Don't give us... It's the exact same bunker. Every single map is the same bunker, but we locked a different gun behind it. They're all the same. Yeah. They all have the same upgrades. They all contribute the same thing. Every single upgrade is, now you can use a freaking javelin inside the bunker. Cool. Now you can summon a heavy frame outside the bunker. Cool.
Yeah.
It's
a bad season, and I'm intrigued for the season after, because we actually haven't had a reveal for what's going to come next season.
I think
So
that's a
it's
little
either
worrying.
going to be
I think
it's
that's
either going to be a complete secret,
right.
and we just boot it up June 9th. Next thing you know, boom, here's the season. Here's what you're going to get. Or my current running theory is going to be a 2-part expansion.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get, part of the game, kind of like a tease leading up to what's going on. And what's going on in Europa. The next thing you know, we go to part 2. Boom, pyramids arrive. Planets are being destroyed. It's just nuts. But right now we don't know. And I think part of the reason that you and most of the other people in the community are upset is because you just don't know. Bungie isn't talking about much, and if they do talk, they don't give us a lot of answers.
Not necessarily don't know. I mean, I'm looking at what they've given us so far and comparing it to previous seasons. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to supply us the content that you were able to give us. I mean,
but you got to look at when they were with Activision, which Black Armory, Drifter, and Opulence, they were all with Activision.
Right, and they were fantastic seasons.
They were fantastic seasons, but they
Drifter
had Vicarious Visions. They had another, not Drifter. We don't talk about Drifter, but
right.
They had Vicarious Visions and a couple other studios helping them out, so it wasn't just them. So I wasn't expecting knockout seasons this season because they were down manpower by a lot.
Mm.
And I didn't expect them to deliver on that quality.
Right.
Although I got surprised with Season of Dawn because I really enjoyed Season of Dawn. Might not have been the most endgamey, expansion, but it worked. It felt good to play, and it was just a good expansion.
Nice.
Not the best, not the worst.
Yep, it was. It's definitely better than this. I kind of shit on Season of the Dawn, but had I known this one was, had I known it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have shit on it so hard.
Yeah.
It's pretty good for this bullet point. Last bullet point we got is discuss the reset and the content drop for the week, which was pretty much nothing. I guess
Almighty
we can talk about
closer, technically.
Yay, it's in the skybox.
There's an emblem in the game. I saw this reading an article. I think it was by Paul Tassi again. Read his article that there's an emblem in the game called Witness Rasputin's Full Power. So one of the rumors going around is that it's going to be a Fortnite-esque live event where we witness his full power.
Ugh.
And he blows up
Awesome.
Almighty in front of us, which I think would be cool because I do like those events. I think it's bravo to Epic for making events like that. That's a really cool way of doing it.
Right.
But looking at Bungie's engine,
I don't know how
which
they're
I
going to do that.
believe is the engine from Halo Reach from
Yes, it
over
is.
10 years ago.
Yes, it is.
I don't know how it's technologically possible for them to do this.
I don't either. Considering they have beavers still out the ass. I don't know
Errors,
how
watercress errors, all
they
sorts of errors.
think they're going to hold their servers together well enough to do that. But who knows? Maybe it's not even going to be that. Maybe it's just going to be another cutscene that we get where we don't interact with the world at all. Who knows?
Who knows?
Hopefully not. But I don't know. See, and then we had the quote-unquote teaser where they put the
Teaser.
Put the ship behind, what was it, in Jupiter, he said? Something like that?
It's in front of Jupiter, yeah. It was a ship that came out of the shadows of Jupiter. It's
Yeah.
right in front of it, which is cool. It's close. I mean,
Yeah.
it proves the Europa theory again.
Right.
It's somewhere near Jupiter, because I don't think there's nothing mentioned anywhere about Io.
Yeah, big rip to my main man Asher. I'll miss you, buddy.
Asher could be going to Europa.
I hope not. He probably will.
Get the trailer on Friday of him just crawling through the snow to Europa.
Great. That'll be amazing. I want to see his Vex arm get chopped off.
He can pick it up and wield it as a sword.
Yeah, great. I don't even want the Vex sword anymore, I'm done with that. I just want content. That's all I want.
For the fall to be successful and to pull people back in, they have to bring a lot.
They have to bring a lot, and they have to not expect pre-orders. I'm sure they're gonna write off pre-orders like they normally would, and I don't know if they can. I don't know if enough of the community trusts them after these.
If they want me to trust them, I need to see a content review about what's going on, normal like story trailer-esque, get me hyped for the story, and I need to see a Vidoc of sorts talking about how they're changing the game. Weapon sunsetting is a massive, massive argument in the community right now.
Don't even get started on that. Well, we'll talk about that in the next podcast.
We'll bring that one up, but it's a massive argument right now. People need to hear about it. There's stuff going on with I don't think we've had a new strike since Shadowkeep, and a new Nightfall specific weapon since Forsaken.
Right. But we haven't.
So strikes are pretty much inert right now. Cheating in trials. I mean, they say they're working on it, and I've seen some stuff, a few articles talking about, Bungie's actually working with Valve to implement all of Valve's back anti-cheating, which, if they do get that in, that will solve the issue. Because Valve's got good anti-cheat. They really do.
That's true.
If they get that in, that'll fix some of the cheating. A concern I'm worried about, this world's first race, if there is a raid, which I'm assuming there is, could be wrong, who knows. If there's a raid, cheaters get world first. What does that do to that race? Because that race pulls in, on average, more viewers than anything else on Twitch. I remember for Garden of Salvation, a couple streamers actually had more viewers than all of Fortnite.
Jesus.
Which is insane.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I'm worried about that race, because that's a cool race.
If we even can get another race.
If we do. Like I said, we don't know.
We're getting nerfed into the floor so much that we're getting nerfed into the floor so much that I'm not sure if a race would even be viable or possible.
No, I don't know either, but Bungie has to answer questions, and I need streams talking about it. We need to actually see what they're doing.
Right.
If this is gonna be as big as they're saying it is, I need to know why it's so big, what's changing, how to prep, what do I need to do here.
Right. That's probably be a good talking point. So Raptor and I have a bet. Where I'm gonna buy Raptor's expansion if it is good. If it's good content, I'm talking
Forsaken level.
At minimum, not even Forsaken level.
Higher?
At minimum. No. If it's Black Armory level, okay? All I want is a raid, a cohesive story, and enough weapons to fill the gaps of them stealing everything from me. Then you know what? I will pay for Raptor's expansion if the raid is not hot garbage. Okay. I don't even care if it's.
We'll talk about Garden.
I don't even. If it's a raid layer, that's cool. Give me like an hour's worth of content with good weapon rewards and cool armor. Okay. And I'll buy Raptor's expansion. If it is hot garbage, which it will be, I hope you have my $40 set aside.
It's literally sitting on my desk right now.
Very good, very good. Raptor will pay me $40 for the expansion. Unless they do some weird stuff with like a 2-part expansion, then charge you $20 per expansion. Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. But that's fine, We'll see how that goes. Just so the podcasts, the like 1 or 2 people that are going to listen to this are aware, which I'm sure they already are, but it's fine. So, let's see. What else are we going to talk about? I think that's about it.
I think that's it. If we wanted to, the other 2 topics I do want to talk about are raid quality and weapon sunsetting, but that's going to take us into way...
Yeah, that'll be for another podcast.
Really long time. So we'll put those for 2 other podcasts, but good start. Inform everybody of what our views are.
Pretty good start, yeah. I've got a good baseline going, That's about it, I don't think we'll need a moderator. Maybe at some point, probably not. We got to get some guests on here too.
For weapon sunsetting, I have a feeling we might need a moderator.
Yeah, we'll probably need a moderator for weapon sunsetting. Actually, no, we're definitely gonna need a moderator for weapon sunsetting.
Yep.
That'll probably be its own podcast. I don't know if
Yep, it'll be a whole one. We could probably talk about that one later,
ad
hopefully,
nauseum.
when
Yeah.
they bring up more info about that one. Because
Yeah.
so
Which, they might not even bring up more content. They literally, it completely ignored the community's fucking rage. I'm impressed that they were able to just, like, fucking dab on us so hard. I mean, they didn't even, not even a mention. I mean, they were just, oh yeah, we're sunsetting your stuff. See you later, guys.
looking at it from if I was in Bungie's shoes, what I would have done instead of just a mass, come season 11 and season 12, there's only gonna be 60 pass weapons that are viable. I would have done more of a gradual sunsetting. For example, all year one, like Leviathan, Eater of Worlds, all the year one stuff, just to make sure it's all out of there. We're gonna take it, we're gonna put it aside.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe next expansion be like year two stuff, Forsaken. We'll start with Forsaken and Black Armory. That stuff we're gonna take it, set it aside.
Right.
Unless they're bringing a massive arsenal of guns in the fall expansion, which is possible because it's ported from D3 supposedly, which means there's a big arsenal.
You know what I think? I mean, they've already proven that they want to and will just reuse year one stuff. I think we're gonna get our vendor refresh is gonna be year one guns. It's just gonna be year one guns. Which
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I would be a little annoyed that they would cheap out, but if they just do that, that's their vendor refresh.
That's the bare minimum that they do.
That's it, and the new content has new guns. I'm talking a new gun for every single archetype. Not even every fire rate. I'm going to be pretty pissed if they don't have every fire rate covered. But at least to give me a sword, a grenade launcher, a shotgun, a submachine gun, an auto rifle, a scout rifle. Give me all of it, okay? For the yearly expansion. And then cover in the gaps in the next expansions. Give me a 600 RPM submachine gun next year, or next season, and then the season after that, give me a 900 RPM. Cool, whatever. I mean, I only use 900 RPMs because I hate 600s and 720s, but that's fine. I'm sure Bungie doesn't even register that those are two different guns. They probably just see, oh, submachine gun. Yep, put it in the game. We're taking it out of the game. That's fine. Just put another submachine gun in next season, even though the fire rates drastically change how the guns feel and are used. But either way, if that's our vendor refresh, is just year one weapons, and all the vendors just get year one trash, cool, whatever. Nobody's gonna use year one, or not near year one. Nobody's gonna use vendor weapons anyways. 90% of them suck. A couple of the Crucible ones are okay, but I mean, how many people are out here using? Let me look at this. How many people are out here using? What gun is this? Not exotics. Where is she? Origin Story. How many people are here using Origin Story? Huh? How many people are out here using Nameless Midnight? Or it was a good scout rifle, but nobody uses it anymore.
Well, it's also due to the fact that scouts need a buff. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's fine. But where is it? Where's the Vanguard Pulse?
I mean,
there you are, Nightshade.
We probably shouldn't even be talking about weapon sunsetting since we said we weren't.
That's true. That's true.
It's going to turn into a massive debate. So.
That's true. That's fine. It's about all we got. So.
Yep.
Good podcast. I got to look into getting some guests on here. Just for the meme,
questions, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
If you want to talk about stuff, put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll even get the clan leader in here if it gets big enough.
Maybe.
Just kidding. It doesn't play the game
Probably
anymore.
It's fine. I'm trying to hostile takeover. How many times now? 3? Hasn't worked yet.
Yeah, hasn't worked yet. 4 times. Yeah. See what happens. I'm not gonna let you take over, but we'll see what happens.
Thanks, man.
No problem.